Hello and thank you for joining us this morning. I am Folake Adesugba. We'll take the headlines live on NCTV News at 8. Nigeria makes progress in anti-graft war. Saraki tells federal government to stop blame game and create jobs. In business news, federal government reverses 2018 sugar projection down to 1.58 million metric tons. And in sports, Poland is to play Nigeria ahead of Ghana in a friendly match. In entertainment news, federal government to partner with Kebbi State ahead of Argungu Fishing Festival. In the foreign scene, EU government's complicit in migrant torture in Libya, says Amnesty. We'll take the news in full after the short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We'll take the news in full now. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government is making progress in the fight against corruption. At an event to mark the International Anti-Corruption Day in Abuja, he noted that Nigeria had moved up from 28th position to 26th in the International Transparency and Corruption Index, represented by his special advisor on rule of law, Akinpolowa Adeniro. The vice president said between 2015 and 16, the country moved to 11th spot in the rule of law index, largely due to the current administration's intensive anti-graft war. He states that the National Anti-Corruption Strategy adopted by the Federal Executive Council, FEC, in July this year was to ensure presidential commitment on asset recovery, transparency and accountability in the management of public funds. Osinbajo added that the framework provides incentive for sustainability in the fight against corruption, as well as to improve the operational capacity of key anti-graft agencies. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, said citizens must remain engaged by demanding accountability and pushing the frontiers of good governance and sustainable development. In a related development, acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu, said the war against corruption must be won for the growth of Nigeria. Addressing journalists after leading officials of the commission in a walk against corruption in Abuja, Magu said Nigerians must resolve to either win the battle or die trying. The event was part of activities marking the 2017 International Anti-Corruption Day, with the theme United Against Corruption for Development, Peace and Security. Now, the EFCC boss gave a strong warning to looters, stressing that the long arm of justice would eventually catch up with them, no matter how hard they try to cover their tracks. Magu called on Nigerians to renew their common consensus against corruption and resolve to halt Nigerians' number one enemy in its stride. Moving on, the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, has stated that it will be futile for the current administration, led by President Muhammadu Buhari, to blame past administrations for the spate of unemployment in the country. He called on the federal government to do more in creating jobs for the teeming youths in the country. Saraki also called for closer coordination between the agencies of the federal government in charge of youth development and job creation. He states that this would ensure that government's policies and programs on job creation were aligned across the board. The Senate President said this at a one-day special public hearing on youth job creation and entrepreneurship held at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja, on Monday. Representatives of civil society organizations and ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government were in attendance. Now, in security, the Nigerian Air Force has appointed Air Vice Marshal Idi Lubo as the new Air Component Commander of Operation Lafia Dole in Borno State. He replaces Air Commodore Tajuddin Yusuf. Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, said the development was to ensure increased efficiency against Boko Haram insurgency. Now, the new chief would report to the theater commander. Air Marshal Abubakar spoke at the opening of the Chief of Air Staff fourth quarterly conference at the Blue Room. NAF headquarters in Abuja. He added that NAF acquired 5 combat helicopters and activated new platforms in the northeast to clear remnants of terrorists and ensure efficient operations to engender peace. Now, according to him, pilots have been deployed for operational duties across the country, with about 500 special forces trained and deployed to ensure operational efficiency in the service. In another development, the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, has said the federal government will give priority to renewable energy so as to improve the living standards of Nigerians. A statement said Dr. Onu stated this when the local organizing committee of the National Stakeholders Forum on the implementation of renewable energy policy unveiled in tariffs in Nigeria paid him a courtesy call in his office in Abuja. The minister stated that the change from fossil to renewable energy was informed by the need to provide power, energy, to revive our factories and build new ones in order to provide jobs and reduce poverty in the country. Dr. Onu said Nigeria is richly endowed with various forms of energy and that biomass is one big component as Nigeria is gearing towards converting to renewable energy. He also assured Nigerians that his ministry was working assiduously to ensure that the country becomes self-sufficient in rice production and other agro-products in order to achieve food security. He hinted that a proposed workshop would help fine-tune the financial environment needed to attract investors to come and invest in renewable energy inherent in the country. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has said about 1.129 megawatts more electricity will be added to the national grid when 8 power plants are commissioned in 2018. Fashola, who said this at the 22nd Power Sector meeting in Geregu Power PLC in Kogi State, said there was need to evacuate the currently constrained 2,000 megawatts before the new capacity comes to the grid. He said 450 megawatts is expected from Azura Power in Edo, 215 megawatts from Kaduna plant, 40 megawatts Kashimbila in Taraba, and 29 megawatts Dadin Kowa in Gombe. Others are 30 megawatts Gurara in Kaduna, 10 megawatts Katsina Wind Power, 240 megawatts from Afam a third in Rivers, and 115 megawatts Garabin in NIPP in Bayelsa State. We cannot afford to keep all these power without selling them. That is not good for the business for those who have invested in them, Fashola noted. He also said Nigeria attained the highest peak generation of 5,155 megawatts power generation last Friday, above the 5,074 megawatts attained in February 2016 due to improvements in gas supply to Gencos with the federal government's 701 billion naira payment assurance guarantee, which enables Gencos to promptly pay for gas and other services. Now onto the judiciary. The Court of Appeal Lagos Division has struck out the criminal charges filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission against a serving judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Zira Ngajua. The EFCC had arraigned the judge for allegedly receiving a total of $260,000 and 8.65 million naira gratification to enrich himself as a public official. The anti-graft agency claimed that the judge received the money through his bank account between 2013 and 2015. The EFCC claimed that the judge could not explain the source of the funds, adding that he acted contrary to Section 82A of the Criminal Law of Lagos State, number 11, 2011. Justice Ngajua was also accused of giving false information to operatives of the EFCC, which the prosecution said amounted to an offense under Section 39 and 2 of the EFCC Establishment Act 2014. The trial of the judge had commenced before the Lagos State High Court in Igboserra. However, following an appeal by his lawyer, Chief Robert Clark, the Court of Appeal on Monday struck out the charges. You're still watching NCTV News at the hour of 8, and still to come, federal government reverses 2018 sugar projection down to 1.58 million metric tons. Poland is to play Nigeria ahead of Ghana in a friendly match, and the federal government to partner with KB State ahead of Argungu Fishing Festival. In a foreign scene, EU government's complicit in migrant torture in Libya, says Amnesty. We'll have all this after the short break. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
My name is Chris Okafor.
My name is Uche Uduma.
My name is Bella Kobe.
My name is Mono Balagobo.
My name is Dorkon Rimdan, and you're watching Nigerian Central Television.
Welcome back. We're going to go right into business news now. The National Sugar Development Council, NSDC, has reversed downward the 2018 sugar projection for the country to 1.58 million metric tons from the 1.6 million metric tons initially projected in the Sugar Master Plan. This was disclosed in Abuja by the Executive Secretary of the NSDC, Dr. Latif Busari, while reviewing the activities of the council in 2017 and making projections for 2018. Dr. Busari also revealed that the council, with relevant monitoring groups, have concluded the review of the backward integration program implementation by participants, and a new sugar import quota for participants will be released in January based on approval of the president. The NSDC boss lamented that the sugar industry in the country is bleeding as a result of security challenges threatening sugarcane farms. He revealed that in Newman, 3 sugar fields have been burnt down as a result of clashes in that area, a situation which may force a downward review of the projected local sugar production in the year. Speaking on the Sugar Levy Fund, he said the 10 billion naira management agreement signed by the council with the Bank of Industry currently has 5.9 billion naira, while the 5 billion naira fund being managed by the Bank of Agriculture now has 3.5 billion naira. The Minister for Agriculture, Audu Ogbe, has called on the Central Bank of Nigeria to reduce lending rates to agriculture, as is the practice in other parts of the world. He spoke at the 2017 Annual Bankers Committee retreat concluded in Lagos. Ogbe disclosed that the average interest rate charged on agricultural loans worldwide is 3.5%, adding that Nigerians' 9% is fine, but could be lower. He also said there was a need to bring more young people into mechanized farming because the generation of farmers is now 60 years old on the average. Also speaking, CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele said Nigeria's economy needs to grow by 6 or 7% for it to have greater impact on the lives of the people. He spoke on a theme: improving financial access, job creation, and inclusive growth in Nigeria. He said growth must be achieved at 6 or 7% for people to feel the impact and reduce poverty rate. We're going to go into sports news now. The media officer of the Polish Football Association, Jakub Kwiatkowski, has confirmed that the Poles will face the Super Eagles in a pre-World Cup friendly on the 23rd of March 2018, but stressed that the venue of the match has not yet been decided. Nigeria national team coach Gernot Rohr first revealed that a friendly was in the offing, which was later confirmed by the head of the PZPN, Zbigniew Boniek. Poland, who have been paired with Colombia, Japan and Senegal at the World Cup, were looking for a strong rival from Africa with whom they could play a friendly match. And there was talk about a possible clash with Ghana, but the choice ultimately fell to Super Eagles. Now, Jakub Kwiatkowski, spokesman of the PZPN, made the confirmation in a tweet. Over 6,000 participants drawn from over 100 various ministries, departments and agencies are currently jostling for medals at this year's Federation of Public Service Games, which started in Bauchi. Speaking at the opening ceremony yesterday, Governor Mohammed Abubakar of Bauchi State and the Minister of Sports and Youth Development, Solomon Dalong, said that sports is one of the ways to bring social harmony in the country. Dalong said he was satisfied with the hospitality of people of Bauchi State and the support they received from Governor Mohammed Abubakar. He said the organizers have also conveyed their appreciation to the governor for his contribution towards organizing and hosting of the game, as well as his contributions towards sports. The minister added that the game is meant to provide an atmosphere where civil servants will be away from their offices and engage in various sporting activities. He called on the participants to take advantage of the game to extend hands of friendship and create new ties. In business news, Federation of Tourism Association of Nigeria says it will partner with the KB state government to revamp the Argungu International Fishing and Cultural Festival. The vice president of F10 Northwest Zone, Nura Sani Kangiwa, made this known in an interview in Abuja. Kangwa said that this was part of the decisions reached at the 9th National Council on Tourism, Culture and National Orientation Conference held in Dutse, Jigawa State recently. The National Council on Tourism, Culture and National Orientation is an annual gathering aimed at bringing together stakeholders to discuss ways the sector can contribute effectively to improve the country's gross domestic products. Kangiwa said the part of the decision reached at the meeting was the revamping of the Argungu International Fishing and Cultural Festival, as it was set to make a big comeback. He said that the federal government, in its effort to diversify the economy, had recognized the creative industry, which culture and tourism were an integral part aimed at creating jobs and improve foreign exchange earnings. Nigerian pop singer David Adeleke, also known as Davido, received the award for Musician of the Year at 2017 edition of the Future Awards Africa, which took place at the Federal Palace Hotel, Victoria Island, Lagos. The celebrated singer beat other musicians such as Techno Miles, Kiss Daniel, Adekunle Gold, and Simi to win the award. Receiving his award, the singer called on Nigerians to unite irrespective of their tribe. Hosted by Adekunle Gold and Mimi Onolaja, the award seeks to celebrate individuals who have excelled in different sectors and are impacting their community positively. Speaking at the ceremony, the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, called on young Nigerians to create a better future for the nation by ignoring those seeking to divide the country through willful ignorance and tribalism. Moving into the foreign scene, Amnesty International has alleged that the European governments are knowingly complicit in the torture and abuse of refugees and migrants in Libya. The group said in a report that in an effort to stem migration, the EU is actively supporting a system of abuse and exploitation on Libyan shores. The report says EU funds are going to authorities working with militias and people smugglers. The EU has provided ships, training and funding to the Libyan Coast Guard. Libya is the main thoroughfare for migrants trying to reach Europe. Arrivals in Italy, the main destination for boat crossing, fell sharply following the provision of EU funds to the Libyan Coast Guard. Now, the International Criminal Court says it will refer Jordan to the United Nations Security Council for its failure to arrest Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir when he attended an Arab League summit in the kingdom in March. Jordan failed to comply with its international obligations by ignoring the ICC's request to arrest Bashir, even though it is a signatory to the Rome Statute, which set up the court in 2002, the ICC said in a statement. Now, the ICC issued an arrest warrant for Bashir in 2009, accusing him of war, genocide, and war crimes in Darfur. He denies the allegation and accuses the court of being political. We're going to take a short break before we round up NCTV News with a quick look at our major stories. We'll be right back. Back to round up NCTV News at the hour of 8, we're going to take a quick look at our major stories. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government is making progress in the fight against corruption. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, has stated that it will be futile for the current administration led by President Muhammadu Buhari to blame past administrations for the spate of unemployment in the country. And in business news, the National Sugar Development Council has reversed downward the 2018 sugar projection for the country to 1.5 million metric tons from the 1.6 million metric tons initially projected in the Sugar Master Plan. In sports, the media officer of the Police Football Association confirms a pre-World Cup friendly on the 23rd of March 2018. And in business news, Federation of Tourism Association of Nigeria to revamp the Argungu International Fishing and Cultural Festival. On the foreign scene, Amnesty International has alleged that the European governments are knowingly complicit in the torture and abuse of refugees and migrants in Libya. That's it for this morning's news. Thank you for joining us. Once again, I am Folake Adesugba, wishing you a pleasant morning.